Good evening. Welcome to Lolita's Corner. I'm so glad to see you guys come on in, join us, chat with us, get in the conversation. We talking love languages on tonight. We are carrying all of that information. We are excited that you will be joining us on this evening. Listen, welcome to the show, Mr. Waddy. Listen, I love when you come on and co-host the show with me.
I love being on co-hosting with you.
What's up? You look well. You look good. You got the beard going on.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking rough, but I appreciate it.
Well, they say some women like it rough. They
You
like it
start,
rough.
you starting early. You starting early. I think I
I
walked right
mean,
into
I'm
that.
talking about the beard, the rough look, the beard.
Okay, okay. I walked dead into that.
Okay, that's what's up.
Good. You're not
So,
looking bad yourself.
okay, I try every now and then. I do a little something. I try to do a little something. So let's get into it, right? So we've been doing these once a month shows about relationships, real topics for everyday people. I mean, we've covered everything from relationship, trauma. We haven't hit on divorce yet, but we did talk about child support. I mean, we've had some really good topics. So tonight we talking about love languages.
You hear that?
Love languages.
All right. Yeah, love languages. What?
Love languages. Love. They say love languages. So listen, in prepping for the show, I love a little statistics every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when most people hear love languages, they think about the popular book. I think the guy's name was Gary Chapman. He talked about the five love languages and claimed that people tend to express and desire love in one of five ways. And those five ways are languages. So, one of the things that I found interesting is the statistics say, right, about 38% say that their top love language is quality time. So that means there's some other languages out there somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. So, what's up? What do you think about these love languages?
I think love languages. Or I'm gonna say for me, are fairly new. At some point in my life, I came across love languages based on a relationship that I was in, and we were having a lot of miscommunications when it came to how we communicated with our love. And so we was introduced to the love languages book. Again, I think it's something that's fairly new. Um, just really started hearing a lot of people talk about it within the last 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
within my circle, shall I say. Yeah. So really started hearing a lot of people talk about it within the last 4 or 5 years. Within my circle, shall I say. Read the book. Yeah. So really why we always got feedback when me and you on the show?
I don't know, because we talking about these hot topics.
I guess. So, but yeah, let's get into it. Love languages, words of affirmation. And you say the top one or
They say the
38%?
top one is quality time.
You would think that that would be number one, but that's not my number one love language.
Oh, Well,
Personal
tell the ladies what's your number one love language.
touch,
I'm touched.
touch, yeah,
Oh,
physical touch,
touch. Oh, I
physical
thought you were
touch.
trying to say I was crazy or something.
No,
Okay, no, touch.
yeah,
Okay,
physical touch. So we
okay.
have words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and of course, receiving gifts. So I don't know why I put that, but yeah. My number one is touch, the act of touching, physical
Okay,
touch.
the physical touch.
Physical touch.
Okay,
Words of affirmation would be number two for me, and I would go with quality time for number three.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I take it you ranked yours. You wanted me to rank mine too.
Well, I mean, sure, why not? Why not? You know, you can do the test and see what happens.
I could do the what?
There is a love language
Oh
test.
yeah, it's a test. I've read the book. I've read the book. I've actually did a few workshops on the book. It's been a few years since I did that. We used to have a relationship chat back in the day where we sort of talked about it. I think you know a couple of guys used to have those relationship talks. So I did a few workshops, a few get-togethers where we sort of covered the topic. So I'm familiar with the test. You can take the test. If I had to rank mine one, two, and three, one would be acts of service, two would be words of affirmation, and my third would be physical touch.
We flipped a little bit,
We flip just a little bit,
just a little bit.
just a little bit. You know, I like a little gift giving too.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Little appreciation. I think that sometime, as I was reading, it was saying that how the young generation that 20 to 35 age range tend to rank gift giving as the number one love language, and people over 45 tend to go with the quality time and the physical touch.
I mean, this is a generation of buying people, though. This is just me
Mm.
personally.
They buying people. What you mean buying
I
people?
mean,
Like
you know,
selling their body up? What you
no,
mean?
I'm not selling your body, but you know, everybody's looking for, you know, what they can. Not everybody, but you know, a lot of young folks, I feel like, materialize the relationships
They
more
do.
nowadays. And we're looking at what a person can give or what a person has or the potential of that person.
That
A lot of that comes with gift giving, but something that I like to speak about when it comes to gifting. Gifting does not always equate love. So we got to be careful with that. Gifting does not equate love. And the minute we receive some, and I hate to say this, some of the women might attack me, but you know, you think because a man gives you a gift, and let's just say it's a nice, expensive gift. The first thing, I'm not gonna even say women, the first thing we say when somebody gives us something is, oh, they love us, or that was love. And a gift does not equate always to love, unfortunately. And I've been in a relationship. This is how we got mixed up into the love language. This is how we got introduced.
right.
Because that individual thought, in my mind, from how I perceived our relationship, that gifting me was the way to love me, and it wasn't. And this
Okay.
is and this is how we were introduced to love languages. And um, you can't buy everyone. You can't buy everyone's love. Some people can be bought. You know, some people's love can be bought. Some people stay in because of what they're gifted.
That's
You know,
true.
but
Now that's a essential part, right? That's an essential part because some people stay for material purposes. And
correct.
I even think that in staying for material purposes, that it's a disadvantage to both people because you're staying for material. You all are wasting time to me
Yeah. Um.
because you just, oh, I'm just staying because he can keep me in Gucci and Prada, and some of that is a sign of some of your internal issues and people pleasing because you staying because you trying to show off or something.
I agree with that. And a lot of people do that in relationships. I agree with that. It's convenient. And
It's convenient.
there are a lot of convenient relationships. There are a lot of people who know that, yo, I really don't love this person. But there is convenience and there is stability or security. So I stay. And that can be both men and women. Because
That's true. That's true.
believe there are men who stay for security in some shape, form, or fashion. Just like there are women who stay for security in some shape, form, or fashion. So, yeah, I agree with that.
That's true. That's true. Here's the thing. I think too that people, when we talk love languages, I do think that people don't know how to love or implement. Maybe that's what it is. People don't know how to implement their mate's love language because they haven't really studied them enough to know that.
Facts. Facts. That's why the test, I think every couple should do the love language test.
I do
Every
too.
couple should do the love language test just because, again, like you can think that you're loving a person correct, and the whole time you're loving them improperly.
Mm-hmm.
You're wondering,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, man, in your mind, I'm doing everything that it takes to keep this woman or to keep this man. But we keep having these issues. And it's because a lot of times we have lack of communication. Doesn't mean that we're not communicating, but a lot of times we're not communicating effectively or properly, right? We're not speaking the proper language to each other. And a lot of times we speak what we think a person expects versus what a person actually wants or what a person actually needs. So again, like this is where that trouble came in this particular relationship. She thought she was loving me a certain way, and it wasn't what I needed or wanted until we came across the love languages. And then it's like, yo, I recognize like, yo, you're loving me like this, but I really want to be loved like this. And
Right.
both, and this is why, I don't like the statement treat people the way they want to be treated, the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way you want to be treated. No, I want to treat people the way they want to be treated. It's just like saying love people the way you want to be loved. No, I want to love someone the way they want to be loved because the way I want to be loved may not be the way you want to be loved.
That
So
part.
we have to understand that. So um, yeah, love languages I think is more of a tool than anything for relationships.
Mm. So, as I was reading the statistics, right? They say most men, 62%, and women, 66% in relationships, they believe that they do an excellent or good job expressing love in a way that their partner prefers to receive it
Until they take the test.
till they take the test.
Until they take the test.
But when they ask to evaluate how well their partner expresses love in the way they want it, there is more significant gender divide.
Again, and the reason why I say until they take the test, I have to keep referring to this particular relationship. There were some things that I didn't understand about the way she was loving me, right? And the way she was loving me was really a part of our issues until we took the test. And then I realized these love languages, these five languages. And then it dawned on me like, yo, she's loving me like this in this particular language. And this is not what I desire or need. I mean, it's cool, it's nice to have all five, but this is not my top one. And
Right.
so, you know, until you take the test, you really don't know because a lot of us don't know how to communicate what we can't see. And a lot of us really don't know how we want to be loved until we really come across some information that shows us how we really want to be loved. Love is a tricky thing to me.
It is a very
It's
tricky
so
thing.
broad, right? Until you
Did you
start
say it was
narrowing it,
broad?
it's broad until you start narrowing it down. And then,
Right.
you can really identify these things based on these five languages. And the five love languages allows you to narrow it down.
It
Because
does.
when I say love, right, I can say, Lolita, I love you. And we've been together 3 years, right? The whole time, though, how you define love and how
Maybe.
I define love is totally different, but it is a common word. So we're going off whatever we comprehend in this common word. Not understanding that we haven't broke it down, dissected it as a couple to see how we really understand this word collectively.
So that's a good part, right? So you got some information in this chat. Check your private chat.
My
Listen,
private chat.
yeah, check the private chat, right? So you just said something when you said that you two have to talk about it. I don't think that those are the type of conversations people are having.
want to go back. It goes back to one of our earlier podcasts
about the conversations and the questions.
about the conversations and the
Come
questions that
on.
you're supposed to have during the dating, courting, marrying process. Honestly, this is something that I'm strongly believing in now, right? Conversations have to go on through the entirety of the relationship.
That's
Because
it.
what was good for me, and I said this last month, what was good for me 8 months ago that I desired might not be good for me 12 months later. I might not desire that same thing. I might not want to be loved the same way. I might have outgrown this particular love language as being number one, and this probably fell down to number three because you cater to it so much and I'm fulfilled, and there's something else that I'm lacking that I want to bring up to the top. We have to be able to communicate our desires inside of our relationships at all times. And a lot of times we stop the communication.
That's it. And some of that comes because we're not true with ourselves enough for us to communicate with anybody else what we feeling, because we hiding the thoughts, the feelings, and all of that on the inside without really having a conversation.
Because you're scared. We're scared that we're going to lose this person. We're scared that things will end. We're scared of the responses from our mate.
Exactly.
And the truth is, one thing I'm learning about this relationship thing is they might not ever last forever. Not in the form of relations as couple or lovers. It doesn't mean that, a lot of people in their relationships on a negative, they break up and it's negative. But that doesn't always have to be the case. This person could have been brought into your life for a season, for a reason, as they say. And that's cliche, I know,
but it's
you have to
true.
start understanding what is a person's purpose in my life. And sometimes you have the relationship before the friendship, not understanding that it's not supposed to be a relationship. It's supposed to be a friendship. But because we ended the relationship so bad, we can't even get to the friendship now, which is what we should have had at first. But we back on love languages.
So look,
Back on love
but
languages.
it's true. So look, somebody in the chat said, "Listen, you have to grow and change."
You
So
do.
though we're talking about, huh?
Go ahead. You do. I agree with that.
Grow and change is really good, because you just mentioned that even in the relationship and communicating and talking about those particular love languages, I always go back to that who you are, because that holds such a, if you don't know what you want and what you want to do, you really playing ping pong in
Back
your
and forth.
relationship.
Motions. A lot of
Emotion,
relationships go through the motions because we're not communicating, one, collectively what we desire in this relationship. Collective is a key word when you're talking about two people or a group plus one. We're not communicating collectively our collective goals, our collective desires, along with our individual goals and our individual desires. And that's really when it comes to this type of relationship, because there are many ships to float out in the relationship status, kinship, friendship, platonic ships. There's many ships, but in this one, if you're not, in all of them, if you're not communicating effectively, you have these problems.
yep. And you need to reflect on those particular problems. So listen, I had to be ready for you a little bit, because I know you was hot about the topic of love languages. So listen, some when you mentioned that you had never heard of it, I had not realized until we were really talking about this, that reality is about 30 to 40% of adults say that they really had not heard about love languages, right? And then they said that half the women under the age of 45 are familiar with the languages, while the women over 45 is not. Wonder why the women over 45 is not familiar with them.
That's so interesting because I was having a conversation with someone under 45, under 40, and they spoke as if love languages wasn't new. And I'm 40 plus. So I'm like, yo, love languages is very new. And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm in my head like, yes, it is. It's another one of those buzzwords off of social media where everyone is saying, the buzzwords. Like, again, to me, I hadn't heard of a love language prior to 4 years ago. I had never heard anyone teach it, anyone speak of it. So it's in my mind, in my group, it's fairly new. So when you look in reality to that statistic, and I think I can speak for most people, most men at least, 40 plus, and say like, yo, when was the first time you heard of the word love languages? I think most of them are gonna say within the
They
past
didn't
couple
know.
years.
Mm-hmm. They learning more about it. So listen, when we talked about coming on about love languages, you was gonna touch on some affirmations.
I'm listening.
Listen, he
30
like
days go by and I forget, but I'm listening.
I'm listening. I thought you was coming. So listen, words of affirmation is really important. Um, some people need validation, compliments. They enjoy it. They need it. It helps them thrive. It helps them grow. What's your thought about words of affirmations? I mean, because I don't know nobody that don't like affirmations. Because listen, I told a friend of
Let me
mine
I have
about
to
2 weeks
ask
ago.
this. What
Go
is the
ahead.
difference between validation and affirmation?
Oh,
I got a question for you today.
that's the
What's the difference between validation and affirmation? Because I believe that a lot of us confuse affirmation with
they do.
someone wanting to be validated.
That's it.
And I
And
don't
that's why I
believe
brought it up.
that you need validation through an affirmation.
And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't because for my thought on that is validation means you need acceptance.
Correct. Correct. Yes, I can agree with that.
Affirmation is a compliment or something to encourage you. I mean, but validation, that means you need somebody to accept you.
I want you to affirm me, but you don't have to validate it.
Exactly.
The validation, whether you affirm me or not, is something that I should be doing within myself and my own work. And I get it. I don't know a person who doesn't want to be validated. I don't want to speak as if validation is negative because it comes off that way at times. Validation is just as good as affirming someone, but I don't need you to validate me.
What? Right.
I
Right.
want the compliments though. I want to know. And I think that, we should be affirming our partners
It's needed. And like I tell
every day,
you, yeah,
every day.
yeah,
Like that's a reassurance that things are going in the right direction
that's true.
to me,
That's true.
to me. And I'm
And
not
a compliment is an affirmation.
a compliment is an affirmation.
What's
I
your
can
thought?
accept that. I can accept that. I can roll with that. I can roll with that. I can definitely. And you should be complimenting your woman every day anyway, or you should be complimenting your man
Your
every day
man too.
anyway.
That's
You
right.
know,
It's vice versa.
yeah. Well, it's reciprocation, and a lot,
That's
and,
it.
and honestly, a lot of relationships don't have enough reciprocation in them.
Now it is so funny you talked about reciprocation because I have somebody that made a post on Facebook about that very subject on yesterday, and I have to share it since you brought it up.
Hmm.
And their comment was this: relationships, the necessary ingredient. Reciprocation is a necessary ingredient in every relationship, family, friends, or romantic. If that ingredient is missing, the relationship is not authentic. If you continue to try to make this type of relationship work without the necessary ingredient, you will soon find yourself being frustrated beyond belief.
Fact.
They said, I don't believe in cancel culture. They said that God didn't counsel me, so I don't counsel others. However, I do believe in re-navigating and revoking the all access pass that I've given people to my life. No hard feelings. We both just realized that this ship wasn't conducive to either one of us, so no need to pretend any further.
Reciprocation is so important. It's like reciprocation is two glasses, right? We're always pouring from each other.
True.
And the best way I can describe it is whatever my area opportunity is, you're pouring into that, right? But whatever
Mhm.
your area opportunity is, I'm pouring into that. And whatever you're giving me, I'm giving you. That way we're always full. We're always filled. And a lot of times we feel like we're pouring into friendships, kinships, relationships. We're pouring into these things, and we're pouring because quite naturally the human nature is to want to see others do well and be self-sufficient, right?
Right.
The truth is, when you're pouring and you're not receiving, eventually you're gonna wake up and realize, yo, I'm damn near depleted.
Depleted.
And I
Drained.
haven't had anything come back from this person. And now it has you looking at them different,
Yeah.
you know? So reciprocation, my whole point is reciprocation is very key. There's so many key elements to relationships.
That's true. And we
And
could talk about those key elements and ingredients more and more. Somebody mentioned in Instagram, I do believe somebody live on Instagram, that affirm means acknowledge.
we want to be acknowledged. I
We want
think
to be
we
acknowledged.
all want to be acknowledged. It's like I don't know no one that doesn't want to be acknowledged, and I don't know anyone who really don't want to be validated. Again,
That's
I
true.
don't want to move too far on the validation because a lot of times when we hear it as if it's negative.
Right.
But everybody wants to be seen at some degree, and we're talking about partners. So I want to be seen by my partner, and I want to be acknowledged by my partner. Why wouldn't I want to be?
Exactly.
I just
Exactly.
Men want to be affirmed just like women want to be affirmed and acknowledged. I just
Exactly.
want to say
And
that.
I think men like compliments also. That's why y'all blushed. And when I said that your little beard was cute today, you blushed. Right. And I think, I told a friend of mine 2 weeks ago, I don't know, I just threw on a little something, had on my kicks. But hey, the fella was like, hey, you look nice. I'm like, hey, that's what I'm Plus my shoe game was tight. But uh
I ain't mad at it.
everybody likes that. Everybody, enjoys that. And there's nothing wrong with getting a compliment. Somebody else said in relations to communications, they say you first have to learn the way each other communicates also in that relationship.
And so I think communication goes right with the love language. You do have
Okay.
to know how a person communicates. Some people are verbal. Some people like to write. And
True.
I've been in a relationship where she couldn't verbally communicate, but I recognized that she was great at expressing herself when writing, when sending emails. It's like, yeah, we had to get to the email stage, and it's
You
like,
was
yo,
in the email stage, she had to check you in the email. Huh? No,
yeah, but no, unfortunately, that's really what it was. But she expressed herself way better writing than she did verbally. And so I do agree with that person. We have to be able to be so attentive to our partner that to where we are recognizing their strengths. Because a
mm,
lot of times we go into these relationships with these expectations, and my expectations of me or what I want isn't always what I need to put on my partner. I have to
right.
understand my partner's way of communication, my partner's way of wanting to love and loving. Because wanting to love and loving can be two different things.
True.
The way you want to be loved and the way you choose to love might not be one and the same. So being attentive to your partner's way of communicating is key. I agree with that.
It is. It's very key. And you said you said something earlier when you went to talking about when you said that knowing how they express themselves, and I laughed when you went to talking about an email, because not just writing. Unfortunately, you need them to be verbal at some point, even though you're learning that, because you can hide behind words. But I'm not gonna start today.
I got time. We always
Yeah, I
ready. I
mean,
got
you
time. I ain't
because
got no other
sometimes,
day.
yeah, sometimes those words, you could let your pen do anything. You can let your mouth say anything also. So the love languages is some action required.
It is. It's something that I've been, man, I wish that, and this may sound crazy, but it's not in my mind. I wish that we can see feelings more than we hear.
Yeah.
Because if I could see what you feel, I would probably be able to understand you a little bit better. But it also allows for the truth to always be present.
Always. Always. Because
Always be present.
always. Because
I,
when you talked about expectations, sometimes people be in false expectations. Because you living in a fantasy world in your mind. Oh, okay, let me be. Oh, we have China on the line this evening. She said you have to make people comfortable enough to be verbal.
you have to make people comfortable enough to be who?
You have to make them be comfortable enough to be verbal. Uh-oh, China. He sat back.
I, yes, yes. I hear her. You have to make people comfortable enough to be verbal. I mean, 2 years, 3 years is shit. You should be comfortable.
You should be comfortable.
All right?
We should not still be playing these nonverbal games.
Or sending
Af-
emails. But I mean, no, I'm not gonna say, I mean, either way. Um, no, you have to find your level of comfort. I
Ooh,
can't give you that. And comfortable, yeah, me making you comfortable is me, hey, do you want me to have my active listening ears or do you want advice? Let's set that straight first.
hello.
Because a lot of people don't want to hear what you have to give them when they ask for whatever it is or whatever they're communicating, right? So are you asking me to listen? Because if you're asking me to listen, then I'll be very comfortable with making sure I just make you comfortable by me listening.
Well, they say you should be, but maybe you haven't given the space for them to be comfortable. So my thing is, if you're uncomfortable,
Oh, I wish she was able to go ahead.
I wish she could join, but if I put on blast, she gonna like, uh-uh. So look, so here's my thing to that comment too, right? About having given the space for me to be comfortable. Well, why are we still playing? Because at some point you need to be comfortable. So I want to hear from her to say, are you talking about somebody in a long term that's been in a relationship, or is this somebody new?
It would have to be somebody new because if we're in something solid and you talking about being, I get it, new can be 12 months. And I don't like to rush people by time because some things take time. This is what I want to hear out of what she's saying. Some things take time, right? At what level and at what degree are we speaking comfort, Because
Right.
at the end of the day, there are stages to growing relationships. They're like businesses.
Uh-oh.
And you have to hit your benchmarks, and comfortability definitely is a benchmark. But if I have you in my bed and you're not comfortable communicating, then there's a problem right there automatically.
True. Because we shouldn't be laying doing nothing
if
if
we
you ain't
can't be
comfortable and
comfortable talking.
yeah.
I'm
That's
just
true.
saying. But unfortunately, things do happen. I ain't gonna go there today. I'm gonna chill today. I'm gonna chill today. But no, I mean, you have to make a person comfortable. I mean, if we're, let's just say it's the beginning, we out on date 3, you would think that you're comfortable. That doesn't mean comfortable disclosing all your business to a degree, but like date 3, I would think that you're comfortable. Hell, date 10, I would think that you're comfortable. 6 months, I would definitely think that there's some form of comfortability. So I don't know, China. You'll see me Tuesday. You can tell me about it. What
But
else going on in this chat?
let's see. She said absolutely you should be comfortable. She said I agree 100%. But we all know there's no communication most time before it's bedtime.
Again, that goes back to one of the earlier podcasts, and that's about asking the right questions. That this is why, and I'm not gonna go too far into that, but this is why you have a lot of situationships and not relationships, and there are a lot of ships that can float out to sea. You didn't left shore without making sure that your ship was the right ship to be at sea. I don't know, that might have went over some people's head, but can't blame me, blame yourself.
And listen, if they say it's an entanglement, and here's my thing with that, right? At what age do you quit having an entanglement?
Is that a question?
I'm asking the question. I'm posing it
At
tonight.
what age do you quit having
I
entanglements?
mean, entanglements to me, I mean, I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't,
Grown.
I don't.
I'm grown, grown.
Yeah, I don't. One thing I'm learning is we have to stop allowing society to determine and dictate what's best for us.
That part.
I'm at a stage and state where do what the fuck is right for you.
Did you
And a
just
lot.
cuss on my show?
I'm sorry.
He didn't get fired up. Go ahead. Yeah, sip your wine because you about to
Blame
be
it
back.
on the juice. No, do what's right for you. You know, we be living too much for what our girlfriends have to say, what our guys got to say, what our mother and aunties got. Hey, yo, look here. I don't think there's an age. I don't think everybody's meant to be married. Unfortunately, but fortunately, everybody is just not meant to be married. But we
Right?
have this standard through society that tells us everyone should be married. I don't believe everyone should have kids. But
Well,
girl, you successful. Why you ain't married? Why you don't have no kids? Like like do what makes you happy, do what makes you comfortable, do what makes you feel fulfilled. And if you're basing that on society and what everyone else has to say, you're not living for you. Our standards usually come from other people. And we
that's
battle
right.
with inside, on these things, entanglements, marriage, divorce. Like, yo, do what the hell makes you happy. So at what age? Like,
Somebody said 30. Miss Leonard said 30.
but how? What happened if you got married at 20, you're divorced at 40, you took 5 years off to be single, and at 45, you getting back in the game and you having entanglements. Are you wrong?
No, and I don't think, and here's my thing. Sometimes people get caught up in situations, entanglements, whatever that is for them. But I think that sometimes it comes from irresponsibility. Sometimes it also comes from reacting off of emotions. And then, they say they didn't say 30. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive us.
The irresponsibility.
Some people are just irresponsible. Other people just mature, and that's what they choose to do, and they choose to be in an entanglement. It's their choice. but also there's consequences
that come with everything,
with
good and bad.
everything.
But
So you need to count up the cost.
consequences are good and bad.
True.
That's what we have to be able to understand. So at the end of the day, if you're being irresponsible, expect some irresponsible consequences to come with it.
Okay, well let's talk. Let's turn up the heat on these love languages. We got a pop-up guest with us tonight that's popping up on the line. Good evening.
What's up?
Ah,
I've been I've been over here chiming in. Ooh wee.
Listen, somebody say just let the other person know you want to be entangled. Listen, welcome to the show. We have the lovely Mrs. Vanessa Brooks. The author and the finisher of Love Covers is on the line
Hey
tonight.
y'all. What's up? Let me get out the jacket. Hold on. It's getting hot up in here. Uh-huh. What's up, Mr. Whitey? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me? My earpiece is tripping.
We can hear you real
Loud
good. We
and
know
clear.
Mr. Whitey always has some technical issues.
Is that me?
Okay. Yeah, it's a little static. I thought it
I
was
don't know
me.
where it's coming from though.
I don't know.
Okay.
Dismiss that
Let me
IG.
come off my earpiece. Make sure it ain't me.
It's
Might
not
have
you.
started when I got here.
I mean, I'll see. What? No, maybe not. I was about to talk mess, but maybe
He's
Y'all
finna
too
say it's
much.
me. He's finna talk junk. Finna talk junk. It ain't even me.
I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Me
So
neither.
what's up? You're looking well. How are you?
Thank you. I'm alright. I'm alright, y'all. I'm still kicking. I'm still here. I'm alright. Stuff is stuff.
Stuff is
Take it
stuff.
one day at a time and keep it moving.
Yes. So
That's
listen,
it.
we was talking about love languages tonight and affirmations. What can you tell the people?
Man, dang, I wish I had a heard the beginning. But what I would say is know your love language, right? So what does that mean? You got to know yourself. You got to know yourself. You got to know if are you a person who rather have quality time? Are you a person who rather be get gifts? Are you a person who has to have physical touch? Are you all of the above, right? Like I'm all of the above. Come on, right? So like you got to know who you are and what you prefer, like what makes you that what does it for you, what gets you like, ooh, Bay did that today, like not just even Bay, even with your friends, right? Like your mutual friendships, like those friendships, like how do you operate in those areas? Does your friend that show up and always buy you a gift and you like, I don't want no gift. I want to spend time with you, homie. Like, what's up? Like, it don't have to be a love thing. It's your friendships. It's your mom and your daddy. It's your kids. It's all of that. It's how you receive love best. So that is your love language. And then, as far as the people in your life, those relationships, knowing their love language is important because I can't love Dr. Cleveland as always giving her a hug and think that's enough. Dr. Cleveland might like nice gifts. You know what I'm saying? She might need a good gift, a good bag or two here and there, a good shoe or something. You know what I'm saying? Get her a new hat or something. Like I have to know my friend's love language. So being that she might like gifts and good surprises, let me hook her up with a gift. Let me hook her up with a surprise every now and again because that's how she receives love. So knowing yourself first and how you receive love, the best way you receive love, and then knowing the people that you're in relationship with, whether it be a sexual relationship or just a platonic friendship. Let me make sure I say it right.
Say it
Platonic
right.
friendship.
But some people don't know how to take care of platonic relationships, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Ha!
And this is a real thing. This
It's
is
a
a
real
real
thing.
thing. And it's sad, I'll give y'all a quick. So I have a friend who called me recently, and we and her tight. We do life, and she says, "You disappointed me. I'm upset with you." And I said, "Why? What's up?" Now, mind you, I'm going through, and the people that know I'm on this. And so I'm like, okay, what's up? Like, just because I'm on a roll don't mean I can't show up. So I'm like, what's up? Why you mad at me? What's going on? And I mind you, I had already knew. Thank God, the Holy Spirit. Yeah, it was him. See, I'm talking smack when he get back in.
It was
It
him.
was you, bro.
You keep still trying to sip wine.
Still, that part.
I'm back in.
It was your static. But yeah, like she said to me, I don't feel like you support me in my business, like as a friend in business area. I don't feel like you support me. And I was like, okay, how so? How, like, tell me what I'm not doing. And she was like, you know, you don't show up. She was like, you simply don't show up. She was like, I just started doing this and you came in one time and you was there temporary and you had to go, which was fine. She was like, but you ain't been back. And I had to understand that her love language is that investment, like showing up, supporting her. And so I'm like, dang, friend, you're right. Like, I couldn't be mad. Like, I couldn't get upset because she told me the truth about how I show up for her in that particular area. All the other ones, all the other areas, she like, here, you there, bam, boom, you hitting the dart, you hitting the target. But in this specific area, she was like, I felt dropped. I felt like you weren't a true friend. And I was literally like, dang, brought me to tears because I don't ever want you to, think that I don't love and care and want to support you. And I couldn't even use the excuse, well, friend, I've been going through a lot. I said, you're right. I'll do better. And that's it. Owning my truth and trying to move forward to do better, to support her. And that's it. Like, y'all, we got to do better. We got
Right.
to do better
You
with
know,
all of it.
you made a good point because we were just talking about communication. So it was good that she even said anything to you because a lot of times people don't say what they feel. We were just talking about the verbal and nonverbal communication. Lord, Mr. Whitey said the lady didn't communicate with him through writing, sending emails. So we was talking we was talking about the affirmations and love languages, and we had got on entanglements and things of that nature. What is your thought about the importance of affirmations?
Affirmations are very, very critical. Even if it's not a person's love language, we all want to be affirmed. um Everybody wants to be approved, right? We all want that stamp of approval of knowing that we're doing something good, or even that we're just cared for enough. We want to know that we're beautiful. We want to know, and we could think we fine as wine, but it still feels good to hear our spouse or our mate say, baby, you wearing that today, you look good today, even if you looking like nothing with leggings and a sweater on like me today. I still want to hear, like, baby, you fine today. Like, okay, okay, leggings, okay, sweater. Like, it's what it is. And vice versa for men. Men love that attention. It's their ego that we have to stroke as women. And so knowing how to stroke the ego, baby, it will, how do I say this? I'm gonna just say it because I don't be knowing how to sugarcoat stuff all the time. So I'm gonna just say it. I'm coming.
Just see it. Just
So in the event that you concerned with somebody being in your boo inbox because they giving them those affirmations, and you want to keep their attention, you need to be in that inbox. You need to be affirming them in that inbox just the same as everybody else that's out here liking all they posts and got so much to
oh
say to
man,
them. Being, you got to do the same thing. And so, that's one of the things that I be like, hey, babe, like, I'm in the inbox. Why? Because I don't have time for nothing else out here trying to get in your inbox and trying to distract you and pull you into their little web that they weave. Like, no, we not on that. You gon' I can do just the same. I know tricks too. I can do all what I can do just as everything that she gonna act like she can do. And the difference is she not me. So let me make sure that I'm there. I'm present in the inbox, letting you know you look good doing that. Oh, you was sexy wearing that today. Okay, babe, I see you. All right, like you a king. King rise up, or whatever needs to be said. Get in that inbox.
that's
Stop. Don't
it.
be ashamed of being in your boo inbox. Beat that DM, and we always they sneaky leak with your own boo. Like I'm
Ah,
sneaky leak
not
with
the
my
sneaker
baby. Hey,
leak.
well,
Not the sneaker leak.
get the sneaky link. Text them that sneak, like you want a sneaky link later, and meet me at the hotel. Book the room, do whatever you need to do. Whole time that's your spouse. Whole time that's your boo. Like y'all together, it's just y'all. Come on, but don't sneaky link with other
Uh-oh,
people.
Mr. Whitey
With other
like the
people's
sneaker leak. Did you
up.
see him nod his head? Let me
I
find out.
see him. I see
You
him because
seen
he
him? Let
like, oh,
me
that's
check.
real. Yeah, because that's what the brothers like. Tell me y'all
No,
don't.
we can't hear him if he just sits still. So listen, while he figuring out his sound to why we can't hear him, tell us what Lanessa Brooks Enterprises is up to.
So coming March 25th, which is a Friday at 6:30 p.m., Lanessa Brooks Enterprises is hosting a Love Covers event. Love Covers is just that. We cover you with love. No matter what your schisms, your isms, whatever's going on, we cover you with love. I have a special guest, two of them, one by the name of Triana Hatch. She is my conversationalist. She's coming to you live, speak to you guys on depression, that emotional roller coaster that we go through, the ups and downs of life that we don't necessarily know how to deal with. And then I also have some entertainment for you because, I love some good worship. I don't know about y'all. And so I have Tierra Brockman coming to do a couple songs for us. And she is amazing. She has an amazing voice. And we're going to gather at 1010 West 35th Street in Chicago and at 6:30 p.m. Again, it's 1010 West 35th Street. Tickets are $30 where you can purchase at LanessaBrooksEnterprises.com under services, love covers, and it'll take you directly there to purchase your ticket.
So let me ask you this. We sound like we hear Mr. Whitey because he rambling. We can
We
hear him.
back.
You back.
We back.
At him. He thought he was lost out the conversation. Listen, let me ask you this as we prepare to wrap up. Somebody asked if they could pay at the door. And then my other question that would be China to ask. My question is this: what made you have a topic called love covers?
I am a true love vessel, and the
Uh-oh,
Bible tells
uh-oh.
us that love covers all. And what that looks like is love in according to First Corinthians, being patient, being kind, not envying, not being boastful, keeping no record of wrong, which is hard for all of us to do. That's the
Uh-oh.
hardest part
You
is
be
keeping
keeping
no
records
record
of
of
wrong,
wrong.
Mr. Body?
I don't believe in counting.
Okay.
Amen.
He
Amen.
might be a
And
potential
so,
spouse
yeah,
for somebody. Go ahead.
listen,
I
let
don't
me
believe
find out.
in
I got
that.
to interview you for some people.
Right.
But yeah, that being that that's who I am, I try to do all things through love. I love to see people healed, whole, and free. I love to see people have their aha moments. And so I try my best to just operate at the fullness of love. And I'm challenged on a regular and on a daily basis because it's my trademark. It's who I am. It's my brand. And I walk in my brand.
That's what's up.
And yes, you can purchase tickets at the door.
Hey,
Lanessa touched on something.
go ahead.
I wanted to close with this, but she touched on a piece that's very important. Love languages is not just within two lovers. We have
Mm,
to be able to understand our children's love languages, our friends' love languages, our parents' love languages, because a lot of us have that confusion as adults with our
Mhm.
parents, right? So, in a way, I wanted
Yeah.
to be loved as a child from my parent. It's not the way I want to be loved as an adult
As
from my
talk
parent.
about it.
that
So,
part.
Talk about
and I wanted to touch on that. I'm glad you touched on that because throughout
Okay.
the research and me preparing for this, that was something I came across. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, that's
That's
kind of
real.
interesting but important, being able to understand that love languages crosses many barriers. And
That's
a lot
true.
of us, when
Yeah.
we hear it, we just speak from relationships, partners. But you have to be able to understand your children from that standpoint as well.
That's
So
true.
Absolutely.
I'm glad she brought that up.
And it's
Yeah.
needed.
It's critical, especially with this generation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. And it's needed now. It's so much going on. I think that if some parents take that time to really learn their child and what they
Whew.
need, instead of what you think that
Man,
they want, right? Because sometimes we
that part.
bind kids like we bind people
We
in
put them in
relationships.
we put them in captivity and we wonder why they can't persevere. As a parent, we hold our kid in boundaries. As a mother of four, each one of my children are different. They can have the same struggle, but it's different. It shows up different. And I have to know how to hit and address each of them differently. And as I'm continuing to learn, the most important thing is to hear them. Y'all, these kids be screaming. They tell you what's wrong. They tell you what's wrong. You just not listening.
That's
You're not
it.
listening. And it's because you don't understand their love language. Because you so wrapped up in your own. And that's why most of our relationships don't work. It's because we're selfish.
Uh-oh.
We selfish.
Uh-oh.
I wish I
Go
was on
say
here
it.
longer earlier.
Go comment before we wrap up. Go on, Mr. Waddy.
No, I mean, I think every word has a positive and a negative.
Hmm.
So before I say anything, I was just say that every word has a positive and a negative. I actually like the word selfish, and I
I do
and
too,
I
for the
love
right
to
reasons.
break words down: pre, post, suffix. I love that, right? But the pre of it is self, and so if we're not
Absolutely.
taking care of self by being selfish at times, we lend ourself out to so many people, and then go back to reciprocate. We're depleted. So I believe selfish is a great thing used in the right context, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I agree. I
that's
agree
all.
100%. We should be selfish. Like you have to put, like you said, yourself comes first in order for you to pour and do what you're supposed to do for everyone else. However, there are moments that it's not always about you. There's a bigger picture. And
Yeah.
in those moments, you got to identify that and be able to now take it off of self, walk in your humility and meekness, and then move forward.
We have to lose some of the old tradition. When
Uh-oh.
I hear you talk
Absolutely. A
about,
bunch of,
just parenting and listening to children, a lot of us come from tradition of do as I say and as you're
mm,
told, right? And we forget that children have minds of their own. They see, they
Absolutely.
hear, they feel. So and listening is key. So a lot of adults feel like, yo, I'm the adult, you listen. And so I guess that could be selfish to some degree. We're
mm,
not listening, as you said. So I'm just sitting there processing what you're saying, and it just in my mind I process it as tradition, and tradition is something that hurts us in our culture
that's good.
currently.
Good.
Yeah. That's
Come on,
good.
word bank. That's good. That's
That's
real
real.
good. I like that as
You
well.
all
I'm
into it,
You done challenged me to change my terminology.
Huh, stop. Stop.
Listen, y'all have had a really good show. We glad you stopped battling us and said what's up.
What's
You know what
good?
I'm
I'm
saying?
glad
You
I
know
Oh,
was
I
able
can
to jump in.
what's up.
see.
Mr. Waddy, it is always a pleasure for you to be on Lolita's Corner. I think our topic of love languages and affirmations and love, and Nessa put that spin, that right spin. She done added the love of the Lord on there with it to seal it for us. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, let me find out we're gonna wind up being Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Listen,
Louis
Let
thank
me
you
Louis.
guys
find
so
out.
much.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing. Don't play.
It's a
Thank you
thing.
all so much for
I see y'all
joining.
kind of fake color coordinated, and I didn't wear the right color, and yellow my color, so I
You
know
bust
I'm
us
better.
out. I hadn't
Everybody,
even noticed that. Hey,
Me
I
either.
did. I pay attention to stuff like that.
you
Don't
be
worry.
into
Next
all
time I
them
want to
colors.
text on what color we went.
You know what? Y'all off the chain. Listen, thank you guys for joining. We did a special hour show for you on tonight because everybody had been asking about Mr. Waddy. Stay tuned. We're gonna be working up something with relationships. We'll definitely be back. I'm hoping we could slide one in the end of this month to talk about a few things. But thank you so much for joining Lolita's Corner. Join us next Thursday. We're ending up this season, y'all. I have a couple more shows, and I'm
Yes,
gonna take a break because we talking about self, right? So we gonna take a
part.
break and do a little spring and summer, you know, But I'm thinking me and Marty can do some lives in Chicago, do some pop-ups or something at the beach or something. I'm up to something. I'm up to something,
I'm
right?
with it.
Yeah, look at
I'm with the water.
I'm with it.
I'm with the water.
Listen, thanks for
Had a
joining.
DJ.
Have a good night. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.